All right, so my community sent me this video getting diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I believe Mr. Beast has Crohn's disease, but I thought it was kind of interesting, something that I want to learn more about. If you don't know who Sewa is, he is extremely talented skateboarder. Look at that, front 3 flip. Like, people never ever do that. He's extremely clean, very technical, as you can see right there. Boom, the knack. But yeah, amazing skateboarder. So I'm kind of interested to see. I'm interested to hear how he's dealing with this and what exactly happened. Nollie, hard flip nose manual, nollie flip out. Knack.
I started
to
this year
180.
with the reminder that health is not a given. Late October of last year, I started noticing a little bubble in like my stomach area, and I didn't think too much of it. It was just kind of a feeling of like, we need to burp, but it doesn't come out. So I just thought, it's gonna go away in a day or two. But it lasted a bit longer, and after a few weeks, this bubble started turning into like little cramps. And at that time too, I wasn't too worried. These cramps would usually last about like 5 to 10 seconds, and they would just pop up like throughout random times of the day. But gradually these cramps would start taking about 1 to 2 minutes, and at this point I was still able to skate through it. And crazy enough, when I was skating, I wouldn't notice anything, but as soon as I wasn't skating, these cramps would pop up more and more often, and I would even wake up in the middle of the night from pain. So right now I definitely started getting more worried, and I looked at my symptoms online, which you should normally never do. One thing that did pop up was stomach ulcers. And
I mean, this is the thing. If you feel like there's something wrong with your body, don't wait weeks and months. Go to the doctor. But he says you shouldn't Google your symptoms. I think that's an old line of thinking. I think you should type into ChatGPT, hey, I'm a young male, I'm a skateboarder, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. Literally give ChatGPT as much information as you can and say, these are the symptoms, this is this, this is this. ChatGPT honestly is way too smart. I'm not telling you to get medical advice from ChatGPT, but if you write all that, it will like definitely point you in the right direction. And even ChatGPT will coach you and say like, hey bro, you should probably go to the hospital. It's actually like we really are living in the future, kind of.
all the symptoms that I had really matched with everything it said online. So I went to the urgent care and I got a blood test there for the H. pylori bacteria, which is a bacteria that can cause stomach ulcers. However, there's a lot of people that have this bacteria in their system, but they'll just never notice a thing. And the blood test came back within a few minutes, came back positive. So after that, I got prescribed 2 types of antibiotics and omeprazole. Omeprazole is a medicine that reduces the stomach acidity, which helps with the healing process in case you do have a stomach ulcer. And even though the blood test came back positive for H. pylori, at this point I still didn't know if it's truly a stomach ulcer or something else, because we didn't look into my stomach or anything.
Do I think ChatGPT will replace doctors? Yes. I think 100% yes. Like, in what capacity? I think maybe more like a self-serve checkout kind of vibe. Did they replace the checkouts? Like, not fully, but pretty much. I think it will, because think of what a doctor's job is, right? A doctor's role is they go to med school, they memorize every single possible disease ever. Then you come to them and say, these are my symptoms. And then they think, oh, okay, it's probably this, it's probably that. I think for sure a computer can be better at doing that. Maybe they're not better at feeling your body and seeing that your cheeks are flush or whatever. But I think in general, like, it's really increasing a lot. Like, it's getting way better and better and better really quick.
It was a total of 8 pills that I had to take a day for 2 weeks straight. As I was taking all this medication, some days I would feel okay, not great, but all right. And other days I would feel kind of sick and just out of it. But I was really hopeful that after these 2 weeks, everything would just go back to normal. So while I'm taking the medicine, I also started getting flare-ups in my esophagus, which would happen shortly after eating. These pains were getting more intense than the prior cramps that I mentioned. It was like more of a sharper pain, and it would like be a burning sensation at the same time too. The doctor prescribed me more omeprazole due to the continuous flare-ups and pain, and he also prescribed.
I'm not taking, it would need a human to prescribe anything. I'm not taking drugs from AI tech, bro. I don't know though, like, think about it though. Okay, I break my ankle and I take an x-ray, and then the doctor looks at the x-ray. He's good at looking x-ray. He's been working in medicine for 30 years. He's looked at hundreds of x-rays. He's looked at thousands of x-rays. The AI can literally look at 100,000 x-rays of similar injuries and instantly know, you know? Like, that is powerful. And yeah, of course it will be like humans overseeing it or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like that's really where we're heading.
I mean, a muscle relaxer. However, the muscle relaxer didn't really do much other than it would just help me fall asleep much quicker. Like, I would take the muscle relaxer and I would knock out, but then I would wake up in the middle of the night and pain would hit me in 3 different parts, and the pain was also much more intense. Meanwhile, I also lost a good amount of weight. I was kind of surprised about that because even though I had all these things going on, my appetite was still pretty good. My plan was to fly back to the Netherlands and get my care out there. But then a few days before I was planning to go, I was eating and I got another flare up in my esophagus. So I laid down on the couch, and as I laid down, I just got the chills really bad. Like, I got super cold, and then I got feverish, and then I got nauseous. When I told my wife those symptoms, she's like, no, I'm taking to the ER right now. I feel lucky that my wife's instinct was to take me to the ER, because otherwise this whole situation could have gotten a lot worse, like a sepsis, which is what my wife was worried about. So I got admitted. A bit later, I was told that I would stay there for a few days. And
it's really sad. Like, it's sad how the American healthcare system is set up that anything is better than going to the doctor. Never ever go to the doctor. Anything's better. The doctor will charge you so unbelievably ridiculous price, $80 for a Band-Aid type bullshit. And your instinct is never go, never go, never go. People literally die because they're so drilled into the like never go culture. I don't know how long this guy lived in the US or how much he stays out here, but I think it's been like basically a long time. But that's sad. But yeah, I think if you ever think something's seriously wrong, definitely go to the doctor. If you go and something's not wrong, don't think, oh no, I'm an idiot. I went foolishly and I wasted the money. It's like, no, bro.
How did he get sick?
You have to check that you're good. Like, that's, your health is worth everything. Your health is more important. But it's crazy that it's like that.
The ER was pretty hectic. So at this point, I hadn't eaten in about 30 hours in total. So, you know, I was pretty hungry to say the least. And shortly after that, I finally got some food again. However, they put me on a puree diet. All the dishes were in form of a puree, but it was honestly pretty good. The next day I would have teams of doctors and surgeons come in, and one big thing that they kept asking, that kept coming back, was, does anyone in your family have Crohn's? My mom has Crohn's, and it's a hereditary disease. Later on that day I got a CT scan and an MRI scan because the doctors wanted to see what the pain in my lower left side could be. And
that's crazy. He had to walk with all of those machines.
Wanted to see if I had any fistulas for me.
It's mainly just an IV.
Fistulas
it kind of just looks a little fancy.
Abnormal connections or tunnels that start forming between 2 parts of the body that usually aren't connected. So in some scenarios, people even have a fistula, like a tunnel forming from their intestine to their bladder. Luckily, they didn't find any fistulas, but they did see an abscess in my lower left side, which is what was causing the pain. An abscess is basically like a pocket of pus that just keeps filling. This is your body's response to try to deal with any type of inflammation. A few days later, I had an endoscopy and a colonoscopy, which is the endoscopy is when they put a tube to look into your stomach, and the colonoscopy is when they put a tube through the other side to look into your bowels. So I got the endoscopy and
not the other side.
Done, and shortly after that, I got results back, and I ended up getting diagnosed with Crohn's. So what Crohn's disease is, it's a type of inflammatory bowel disease. It's also an autoimmune condition, which means that the immune system mistakenly attacks the digestive system. And the symptoms of Crohn's can include cramps, diarrhea, fatigue, and weight loss. And there's no cure for Crohn's, so it's a lifelong condition, but there are definitely treatments that can help manage Crohn's and reduce the flare-ups. Overall, I was hopeful that this scenario was just like a one-off inflammation that just needed more care this time, and I was hopeful that it wasn't going to be Crohn's. However, like I mentioned earlier, my mom has Crohn's and it's hereditary, so it also always stayed kind of in the back of my mind that maybe at some point in my life I will get diagnosed with Crohn's. So
I'm kind of surprised to hear that he knows his mom has it. He's probably been around his mom, like making decisions based around the disease. And then he had all this stomach stuff and he never once considered like, oh shit, this might be Crohn's. It's kind of surprising to me that he was like fighting against it. No, it's probably nothing. It's probably nothing. I don't want to go to the doctor. To me, that's interesting.
So once they came back with the news that it's Crohn's, my response was kind of neutral. Like, you know, it sucks, but it is what it is. At this point, I'm still at the hospital.
I think you can still be bummed,
for
sure.
For follow-up news. And, you know, I'm just laying in bed basically all day. And at different times I would try to get up and just walk around to at least get some sort of movement in. Another day later, I got surgery to drain the abscess. And the way I was told is that they were going to try to drain the abscess. And after that, I would take antibiotics for about 6 weeks. However, they weren't able to drain the abscess as much. So they also placed a tube into the abscess with a drain bag next to it. And initially I was told that since I have this drain, I would only have to take antibiotics for 2 weeks and the drain would basically do the rest of the job. But then when I came back from the surgery, they told me that they also actually found another smaller abscess which they couldn't drain. So at this point I had a drain and I still had to take antibiotics for about 6 weeks. Eventually I ended up spending 10 days at the hospital in LA. This was also during the time when the LA fire started happening, which was really crazy because you were able to actually see it from the hospital. Definitely want to give a huge shout out to everyone over at UCLA. I mean, the care was just really top notch, and all the doctors, nurses, and staff were just super nice, really kind, and I felt like I was taken care of really well over there. I finally got discharged and got prescribed a bunch of medicine, and a few days later I flew back to the Netherlands with a drain, and as I was waiting for these appointments, I just thought, I'm not skating right now.
Flying with that seems annoying.
I still don't want to be sitting still, so I can at least be effective with other stuff like work on my business and whatnot, but that didn't turn out that way at all. As I was in the Netherlands, I would just start feeling worse and worse day by day. Had another CT scan done to see where we're at with the abscess. And one day after my doctor's appointment, I hung out with a friend. We just walked around the city for a bit, and I was super excited that I was able to walk a bit more again, even though I still had the drain, and I was basically walking around with a hunched back this whole time, because when you walk around with that drain, it's like the drain kind of like tugs and pokes at times. But overall, I was just happy to kind of be out and about again. The next day I started feeling really bad again. My energy levels were just super low, and for almost a week straight I just slept almost all day and night, and some of my previous symptoms were coming back as well. So I went to the ER and got admitted to the hospital, and the good news was that
at least he's in Netherlands
anymore,
now,
so they could finally take out the drain. So once I got that news, that was definitely a huge relief. I ended up spending a total of 11 days at the hospital in my hometown. Every day I would have doctors coming to the bedside to tell me what was going on and what the next plan would be. Also had some of the homies visit, and there's like a new spot right in front of the hospital, so I also went out to come kick it for a little bit and just watch them skate and hang out with the homie. And then I would go back in and lay there basically all day and wait for updates. I also lost a lot more weight. I ended up losing about 11 kilograms, which is about 24 pounds. I just lost a shit ton of muscle. It tripped.
Yeah, when you're a skater or just active in general and you lay down, I mean just anyone as well, but he has pretty strong quads, he's got the pop. You lay down for like 3 weeks, it's all gone. Your legs lose the muscle so quick. It's kind of crazy.
Because I felt like I was eating a lot, but then the way it was explained to me as well is that I was basically just so sick that even though it feels like you're just laying down all this time and not doing much, your body is actually fighting super hard. And because of that, I just kept losing weight. They wanted to give me the medicine against Crohn's, which is called infliximab. The only thing was that they had to rule out a few other things because the infliximab it's an immunosuppressant, which means it lowers your immune system.
Wait, is that a game where you ride the bike and it's Google Maps? That's lit!
It's an immunosuppressant, which means
is that what was going on?
And if you
That's
have
sick.
some potential underlying conditions, then this could basically cause like a ripple effect. Eventually, all the checks were done, and I got the thumbs up that they can finally give me the infliximab, which will directly target the Crohn's, which you get via IV. But I also had to take another medicine to support the infliximab. So this medicine basically has to also lower my immune system so that the infliximab can do its job, because if you just get the infliximab, there's a huge chance that your body might reject the medicine. And about 3 days after the infliximab, I just felt much, much better. Not 100% of course, but it was just day and night compared to how it felt. But yeah, overall, I also want to give a huge shout out to all the doctors, nurses, staff at the hospital in Alkmaar. I mean, they were just all super kind, super caring, and overall made the experience much, much easier. After spending another 11 days in the hospital, I finally got discharged. At this point, I'm just excited to be out and about again and just be able to
balloons
walk
on the
around
bus,
again,
nice.
bike around again, and just enjoy the simple things that we often take for granted. I was also super excited to finally get back on the board again after a few months of dealing with all of this, and I was really curious how it was going to feel because I just lost so much weight and lost so much muscle. My first skate session was a pretty crazy feeling though, because my balance was just still completely there, but my power, my strength was not there at all. Another thing was that it was really hard for me to absorb flat ground impact because my legs were so weak at this point. Normally when I get to the park, I just warm up on the second block with some manis, but it was really hard for me to even hop on the first block. And then I would slowly try to build my way back up to the second block. And there was also a point where I was trying to do a mani on the second block, and I built it. And when I walked out of it, it was like my legs could barely even hold me.
Dang. It's kind of sad to see, to be honest.
I feel like you would have to spend months retraining yourself for skating after that.
It's hard when the mental's there and the body's not. It's tough.
So it definitely took a lot to, try and regain that strength. At the same time, I also try to take this as an opportunity to work on some of the fundamentals, so to speak. And during every session, I would also try to bring back an extra trick.
Damn, because he's usually jumps higher, so now it doesn't work the same because he's trying to jump lower.
Also started hitting the gym to help build up muscle quicker. I'm a bit of a noob, by the way, when it comes to a lot of these exercises, so it's definitely helpful for me to have some guidance. If any of you guys have any tips, suggestions on exercises that you do and that help you with skating, please let me know. So I'm back in the US now, and every time I have a skate sesh, tricks are coming back quicker and quicker. My pop is definitely not where I want it to be yet. I mean, you can tell it's quite a contrast to where it was before this whole health issue versus where it's at now, but I'm happy that at least the tricks are coming back and the pop is slowly coming back.
Putting this footage out takes balls. Yeah, mad respect to him. I was just about to say that. Is like, this is his channel. I've never seen his channel before, but it looked like it was just random skate clips. Like Instagram raw cuts. I was like, man, this is really well made. I guess he had some 1 week in Barcelona. I never watched that. Yeah, definitely check out his channel and support his content journey. But I'm like, man, this is really well made. This is better made than like established skate YouTubers.
Take it much easier with everything that I'm currently doing due to the medicine that I'm taking, because as I mentioned earlier, it lowers my immune system.
There we go. We got some pop now.
Sick much quicker now because I'm currently skating, going to the gym. I've been doing part-time work outside of skating, and I'm also trying to build up my brand. So yeah, overall, I think this whole health ordeal has
Is this his board brand that he keeps talking about?
Steps back. Even though I was dealing with all this health stuff and I wasn't able to skate, I could still get fulfillment out of other things. If this had happened 10 years ago, I'd have probably been really devastated because at the time skateboarding was basically my only outlet, and I think if this same thing would have happened in 10 years from now, it will be much harder to regain strength.
It's pretty impressive he bounced back after a big illness.
For real. My advice too is when people have all this skate energy that they're always emitting and then they get some kind of incapacitated state, maybe not as bad as him, but maybe you break your ankle or whatever and you can't skate, I always say try to focus the skate energy onto something constructive. So like, what does that mean? You're laying in a hospital. Oh, I'm going to Duolingo and learn another language, or I'm going to learn an instrument, or I'm going to do some kind of thing. There's like infinite things that you can learn and do. And that's what I try to tell people is like, try to emit your skate energy in a positive way rather than just watch Netflix and play a video game or whatever. It's like, you could actually do some positive stuff.
Also, thanks to everyone who's watched this video. I'm also really curious to know if any of you who deal with IBD or any other autoimmune disease, what are some tips or suggestions that you might have to, help deal with it all?
Like, he still got it. Switch Manny Fakey Flip. Very cool video. Let's write a nice supportive comment, and I would recommend checking out his stuff. Thanks for sharing. All the best. Wishing you all the best.